Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide program. In this world, nowadays, most of the people are so interested about their physical appearance. They spend thousands and thousands of dollars and money to make their face and outer appearance beautiful. So today I'm going to reveal you a simple but a wonderful beauty secret that will make your outer appearance so much better, that can bring your outer appearance to another level. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us there are 11 benefits of loving kindness. If someone practices loving kindness in his heart, if someone develops a heart of loving kindness, Supreme Buddha said, his physical appearance, his facial appearance, facial beauty will become developed. So if you need to be beautiful, if you like to be beautiful, what you have to do, you need to be kind. Why? Because there are two beauties in this world. The first one is the beauty of the skin, and the second one is the beauty in the heart. Right? So the skin beauty, the beauty of the skin is, remember, it is impermanent. It may last long, maybe about 50 or 60 years. But if you make your heart a beautiful place, then the whole world will be beautiful as well as your physical appearance may become beautiful. Because you have wholesome thoughts and kind thoughts, serene thoughts inside your mind. Once your mind becomes pure, once your mind is full of wholesome thoughts, your physical appearance will be beautiful. Because what we think is highly affected to our physical appearance. Now, when we take a person who suffers with depression or stress or anxiety, normally we can see him, we can detect that nature from his outer appearance. Right? He will be stressed, he will be parched, and normally we feel if someone is going through a hard time, if he or she is suffering from depression, we feel and we can see it from his outer appearance. So what our thoughts, what we think is highly affected to our physical appearance. If someone develops a heart of loving kindness, if he is not angry with anyone, if he is friendly with everyone, if he can smile in his life every day, then his facial appearance, physical appearance may become beautiful. You can spend your money to become beautiful, it's not a problem, but you need to be beautiful from outer, from the skin, as well as from your heart. To be beautiful from your heart, you need to practice love and kindness. Therefore, practice love and kindness. When you practice love and kindness, you will become beautiful from your heart as well as you will become beautiful from your face. So practice this great quality and be a beautiful person from inside and out. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvon Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. This is a special inner guide video that is dedicated to the little daughter who had asked a question from us. She had mentioned in her comment that she has a big problem with laziness, and also her exams are near, so she is in a big stress. And also, she said that she no longer finds a value in her life. I think most of us have these kind of questions. Okay, let's start with the first question. she had said that she has a big problem with laziness and sleepiness. I know that getting up early in the morning and sitting for studying and doing the studies is a little bit of a hard thing to do when you are a student, especially. First of all, let me introduce you to the inspiring words of the Supreme Buddha. Supreme Buddha said, Sukharani asadhuni attano ahitanicha. It is very easy to do evil things, the things that brings the unhappiness or the suffering or the regret to our life. Supreme Buddha said, Yangve hitangcha sadhungcha tangve paramadukkaram. If there is something that brings us the happiness to our life, if there is something that makes us proud about ourselves, doing such things is a really, really hard thing. So, getting up early in the morning and sitting for studies is a hard thing to do. Why? Because if you do that, it brings the happiness to your life. Right? Studying, educating yourself brings the happiness to your life. So, most of the people, they find hard to get up early in the morning. Now, we all like that fluffy and comfy and warm feeling that we feel on the bed in the morning. So, when you open your eyes in the morning, your mind says, just stay another 5 minutes. And that's the point that you are making the mistake. Your mind, you listen to your mind, you listen to what your mind says. When your mind says, just stay another 5 minutes more, it's okay, it's not a problem. That is where you make the mistake. And that 5 minutes will last long for another hour. And when you get up after an hour, your mind, the same mind that told you to stay on the bed for 5 minutes will complain you. You are not studying. It will say that you are going to fail the exams. That is how our mind lies us. That is how our mind tricks us. So when you get up in the morning, when you open your eyes in the morning, right? When your mind says to stay on the bed for another 5 more minutes, do not listen to that. Do not listen to that lie. Get up and refresh yourself and start studying early in the morning. There's a great quote that I remember all times when, even in my life, when I'm going through hard times, I remember this quote. It says, it is a wonderful quote. It says, if you do what is easy today, your life will be hard tomorrow. Let me repeat that again. If you do what is easy today, your life will be hard tomorrow. But if you do what is hard today, your life will be easy tomorrow. So getting up early in the morning is a hard thing. But if you do that hard thing, remember, your life will be easy. But if you stay on the bed for another 5 minutes, doing what is easy, your life will be hard tomorrow. So get up early in the morning. Do you know how long you're going to feel the hardship of getting up early in the morning? Do you know for how many days that you are going to find very hard to get up in the morning? Only for 3 weeks. If you get up early in the morning and start studying in the morning for 3 weeks, remember, only for 3 weeks, it will make a habit to your life. And after that 3 weeks, you will never find it hard. It will become a habit. You don't want to think about it again and again. It will become a day-to-day practice. So do that, although you feel hard, for 3 weeks, and see the result. That is the answer for first question. And let's go for the second question. She had mentioned that her exams are near, so she's stressed and she's unfocused. Her mind is clumsy. So what is the answer for this? Remember, now when the exams are near, it is the normal nature that we feel frustrated, distracted, unfocused, and clumsy. That is the normal nature, right? So I need you to do one thing. This is a special thing to do when the exams are near, right? Focus on one thing at a time to study, right? Focus on a single thing at a time to study. Study for 20 minutes, right? When you're studying, just forget all the other things that you have to study. Now, normally when we start to study, we find that there are so many things that we have to study in a short time. Now, the more you remember these things, the more your mind will regret. The more your mind will start to become clumsy. So I need you to do this thing. When you're studying, just forget about all the other things that you have to study. Just think, now I have to study only this thing. There's nothing that I have to study more. Just focus on that and study for maybe 20 minutes and take a break for 5 minutes. This is called the Pomodoro technique. I think it is well known. So study for 20 minutes, well focused, and give yourself a little bit of a break for 5 minutes and start studying again. And focus on the special points in your studies, right? And now, when the exams are near, if you haven't studied, right? So I know you're regretting in your mind. So, if you didn't make through the exam, I'm using the word if, right? If you did not make through your exams, I need you to do this thing. What is that? Never, ever give up studying. At some point in our life, we will lose our balance and we will fall down. We will go through hard situations, right? We will fall down in our life, but get back up and try again. You will fall for the first time. You will fall for the second time. You will fall for the fourth time, fifth time. Though you fall for the 1,000,000th time, what you have to do is get back up and try again. As humans, we should never give up in our studies and in our success. So, if you did not make through the exams, do not quit your studies. Do not quit your education. Right? Get back up and try again, and one day, you will find that you have been success. And let's go for the third question. She said that she no longer finds a value in her life. Remember, as humans, we are born to this world to add a value to our life. When we come to this world, we brought nothing. We had nothing. We knew nothing. But as humans, we have to add a value to this life. Right? Study well, start loving others, start loving your parents. And if you cannot study for yourself, right? If you cannot work for yourself, work for the people who loves you. There are so many people around you who loves you, who have dedicated their life on behalf of yourself. Right? They are your parents. Try to bring a smile to your parents' face saying, "Mom, Dad, I made it." One day you should do this. So if you did not give up, you will be success one day. But if you quit, if you give up your education, if you give up in your goals, it is very sure you will fail. Therefore, never give up Work for yourself as well as work for the people who love you most. Right? Bring a smile to their face. Right? The only thing that you have to do in your position as a child, as a student, is to study only. You don't want to earn money. You don't want to look after the babies. There's nothing to do. Only thing that you have to do is to study. Do that, but never give up. That is what I have to share in this special video. So I wish that daughter and all of you have the same questions in your life. May you be well and happy. May you live long. May you live a happy life. And may all of your dreams come true. And may all of you realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. In life, in some instances, we regret about the things that we have done in the past, right? We think that, oh, I shouldn't have done this thing, right? If I did not do this thing, my future and present will be much better than now. Like that, we regret about the things that we have done. Our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us a way or the facts that you should develop within your life to build up a life without the regrets. So this great advice was preached by our great teacher Supreme Buddha in Alavaka Sutta. In that sutta it says, to build up a life without the regret, you need to have 4 qualities. You need to have 4 qualities. Number 1, Supreme Buddha said, you need to live a life with truthfulness. That means you need to speak always the truth. Now, when we take this fact, normally people think in order to escape from the problems, in order to escape from the difficult situations that they find in their life, they need to lie to the people, right? If they say a lie, then they can escape from that. Of course, for that instance, they can escape from that problem. But remember, if you say a lie, if you tell a lie to someone, you will have to remember that lie forever. Because you need to protect that lie without being revealed. Right? So sometimes you need to tell 10 more lies to protect that one lie. So after the truth has been revealed, because one day the truth wins always. So after the truth has been revealed, the people will regret about what they have done in the past. They will think, oh, I shouldn't have said this thing. In that time, I shouldn't live that like that. So Supreme Buddha taught us, you should live a truthful life in order to live a life without regrets. Number 1. Number 2, Supreme Buddha said, you should be wise. You should have the wisdom in your life. So what is the wisdom? You should be wise in taking decisions of your life. Remember, your life is so valuable. It has a great value. The decisions that you make in your life, the choices that you make in your life will determine your success in your life. Right? So that is why Supreme Buddha said, you need to be wise in making choices in your life. So every time when the thoughts pop up in our mind, we make a choice to act on them. Right? When evil thoughts pop up in your mind, evil thoughts like anger, resentment, hatred, jealousy, when these thoughts arise in our mind, we make the choice to act upon them. And also when the wholesome thoughts pop up in our mind, we make the choice to act on them or speak on them. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you need to make a good choice. When the good thoughts arise inside your mind, you need to make a choice. I should do this. I should do this action. This is a wholesome thing. This is a good thing to do. right? When the evil thoughts pop up in your mind, what you have to think is, no, these thoughts are not good for my life. These are harmful for me as well as to the others, right? So I should not do this thing. I should not speak like this. In that way, you need to make a good choice to always bring your life from evil to the wholesome. That is called the wisdom, the ability to find what is good and what is bad, ability to distinguish what is good and what is bad. It is called the wisdom. And also Supreme Buddha describes the wisdom so much far away from that point. But in your life, you have to be wise in making decisions. You have to be wise when you choose your friends. You have to be wise when you're dealing with people, right? If you live a wisdom-full life, right? If you live a life full of wisdom, your life will never remain in regret. So that is the second one. Number 3, Supreme Buddha said, you need to be courageous. In order to achieve any successful goal in our lives, we need to work hard. We need to work hard without giving up. Each and every successful person in this world had the courage to achieve those successful goals, right? Without hard work, without practicing, without the courage, you cannot achieve good goals in your life, right? If you did not have the courage in the time that you should have courage, right? After you become old, after all those chances are blown away from your life, remember, you will have to regret about your life. So that is why Supreme Buddha said, you have to earn money when you are young, or you have to live a wholesome life when you are young. When you become old, if you did not earn money, and as well as if you did not live a wholesome life, you will have to regret about your life. So that is why Supreme Buddha said, be courageous in your life, right? Practice the courage. If you have the courage in you, if you have the dedication within your life, you can achieve the good goals in your life. That is number 3. Number 4, Supreme Buddha said, having all these qualities, you should be generous. So what is generosity? Generosity means ability to give the things in your life and share the things in your life with others, right? Normally people, when they become more wealthy, right, when they become rich, they don't like to give the things to others. Remember, life is not living only for yourself. Life is also about how we dedicate our lives for others, how we help others, right? So that is why Supreme Buddha said, you can be rich, earn money, no problem, but you should be generous. Don't be stingy. Be a helping hand to this world, right? So if you practice the generosity within you, you can be happy with yourself because you feel that you have done something good in your life. You have helped someone in your life, right? Helping people, the feeling that we get after helping a person, remember, that is one of the greatest and the sweetest memories in our life, happiest moments in our life. So help people, be generous. So if you have these 4 qualities in your life, what is that? Truthfulness, wisdom, courage, and generosity. If you have these 4 qualities within you, Supreme Buddha taught us, you will never have a life with regrets, and you can escape from the regrets in your life. So practice these 4 qualities and build up a life without the regrets. Namo Buddhaya, Therwan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. In life, we have to deal with different kinds of people. So it is the nature of a person or a human is to make mistakes. Every living being make mistakes. That is the nature of this life. That is the nature of our mind, because our mind is full of hatred and delusion and our craving. So when these defilements get filled inside our minds, it is the normal nature to make mistakes. So sometimes when we are working in a company, or when you are working in a company, if you are a leader, sometimes the people who work under your supervision may make mistakes. So most of the time, people use anger, and they use resentment, hatred, and evil words to explain something about a mistake to a person. That is the normal human nature. Remember, when you use the words of anger, when you use the evil words, when you talk in anger, you cannot explain that certain thing to that certain person, because no one likes to hear angry words from anyone. No one likes for another person to make them shy or embarrass them in front of others. But most of us embarrass people in front of others. Most of us talk the words of anger to explain the certain things when the people make mistakes. But our great teacher Supreme Buddha explained us that if you need to accuse someone, if you need to explain about a mistake that has done by another person to that person, there's a way to do that. There's a correct way to do that. So when you explain that certain thing to that person about that mistake, you need to have 5 things in your speech. Supreme Buddha said, the first one is, the speak must be timely. You should speak in the correct time. So what is the correct time? Never speak to a person, never explain about a mistake to a person when he is in anger. Because when people become angry, they shut their ears. They don't like to hear about the things that others say. So you need to explain about a mistake to that certain person when he is cool. So if you need to complain to someone, if you need to explain something to someone, talk with him privately. Bring him to a private place, maybe your cabin, maybe to a private place, and talk with him about that. That is the first thing. It should be timely spoken. The second one, Supreme Buddha said that speak must be a real one. That means you need to explain about a mistake that really have done by him. Sometimes we may misunderstand about the situations, from the miscommunications, and we complain to wrong people, the people who hasn't done anything wrong. So when you speak like that, you damage to that person's trust, right? So you need to complain from a mistake that has really happened, from the truthfulness. That is the second point. And Supreme Buddha said, you need to speak gentle words. That is the third one. You need to speak the words of gentleness. So how to do that? First of all, if you need to complain to a person, first of all, you need to praise him. So suppose your colleague or a worker who works under you has done some mistake. So how to do that? First of all, you need to give a value to his occupation, the work that he's doing for you. So when you're doing that, his mind becomes happy and he opens his ears to listen to you. That is the first part. Then go for the complaint. Then explain that this mistake has happened from you. Ask, why did you do that? What was the problem? Right? What was the problem to do that? Then you can complain about that. And again, give a value to his life. Say that, give a praise to him. say that you are doing well, but you have done something wrong, so you should not do this again and again. Then they will always listen to your explanations. So that is the thing. You have to speak gently, with kindness. And also Supreme Buddha said, you need to speak, you need to explain about that mistake with the goodwill, with the mind of explaining to that person and making his life better. You need to give that feeling to him. You need to give that feeling that he's trying to explain me something to make my life better. When he feels that, he always listens to you. So that is the fourth one. You need to look for the betterment of that person. And finally, Supreme Buddha said, you need to speak friendly words. You need to give that feeling of friendliness to that person. When you give that feeling to that person, he will reveal all the secrets inside him because he feels comfortable with you, and he will always try to listen to your advice. So that is how we deal with the people who make mistakes. But never be angry in front of the people who has done something wrong, because we all make mistakes. We all are humans. We all are in the same nature. So what we have to do, forgive them, explain them about the mistake kindly, never hurt their feelings. And if you do this, you will find so many people around you who are praising you and who are loving you. Make your life better with kindness. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Today I'm going to share a wonderful story with you. Once in ancient India, our Maha Bodhisattva, whom we called the Buddha to be, was born to a family of traders. He grew older and he became the leader for 500 caravan of traders. So they packed their food, water and rations to cross long deserts. So one day, while they were traveling to sell their goods to faraway cities, they came across to an edge of a desert. So in order to get to the city, they had to cross this desert. So this wise Mahabodhisattva, this young trader, decided that it is very harsh and it is very dangerous to travel this desert in the daytime because the sun was too hot and the sand was too hot, like burning charcoal. So they decided to travel in night and to rest in the daytime. So they arranged their carts in a circle in the daytime and they rest under the carts, under the shades. And they started crossing the desert in the night. After a couple of days later, the desert guides said that they have reached their destination and they are one night away to the city. So the traders was very happy and they ate everything that they had and they drank their water because they had to reduce their weights in the carts. So while traveling at the night, the desert guides lost their path. And after traveling a long circle, they returned back to the middle of the desert. Now when the sun rose in the next day, they realized that they had lost their way and they have come to the middle of the desert. Now they are in the middle of the desert and they have no water and they have no food to eat. So everyone was parched, everyone was tired, and everyone was suffering from thirst. So everyone gave up all of their hopes and they laid down on the hot sand, resigning their life to the fate. But this young trader, our Mahabodhisattva, thought, if I give up my hopes, everyone would die. If I give up my courage, everyone will be in danger. So I must find a solution to cross this desert, and I must find a way to find some water to these people. So while our Mahabodhisattva was walking here and there thinking of a solution, he saw a bunch of grass has grown on the desert. Then the Mahabodhisattva decided, if there is a bunch of grass, there must be a stream of water running beneath this bunch of grass. Then he called to everyone and said, dig under this bunch of grass and you will find water. Everyone was happy, and they took their spades and mammoties and they started digging a hole in that place. After hours and hours of digging, they came to a surface of a stone. Everyone was tired. Everyone was crying because they could not break the stone. They could not find any sign of water. Then everyone laid down around the hole, and they started crying and started yelling at the leader. But our Mahabodhisattva didn't give up. He searched for a person who has the courage to do something about this disaster. Then he called to a boy, and Mahabodhisattva said, son, if you give up, we all are in danger. Take this sledgehammer and start striking to the stone. There must be water beneath the surface of the stone. This boy was courageous enough to do that. He believed in the words of the tradesman, and he took the sledgehammer, went down to the hole, and he started striking hard to the stone. First strike, the stone didn't break. Second strike, it didn't break. Third strike, it did nothing. He summoned up every part of the strength, every single strength that was inside his body, and he struck hard to the stone surface. The stone surface broken. A huge gush of water cascaded from the stone, filling the hole within no time. Everyone was happy. Everyone drank water. Everyone fed their oxen, and they filled their vessels with water, and they started traveling. They started crossing the desert again. And finally, they reached to the city happily. Dear children, dear devotees, sometimes when we try for our success, when we do the things that make our lives successful, it seems a bit harder. Sometimes you may feel that you should give up. Remember, you will fail only if you quit, if you give up. If you did not give up, one day you will achieve the successfulness in your life. Therefore, sometimes success may be one step away from our life. All we need to do is go for that, do that, take some risk, and find your success in your life. Because doing these things, doing the things which makes our life better, doing the things which brings the happiness to our life is hard. So you have to remember that if you give up only, you will fail. Therefore, never give up. Always work for your success. Although it is hard, one day that success will make your life happy. So never give up being a good person, and never give up being successful in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvon Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. When you're working for your success, when you're trying hard to make your life better, sometimes you may find haters in your way. That is the normal nature of this world. If someone tries to make good to this world, if someone trying to make his life a better one, there will always be haters around him. There will be people who talk to that person to put him down. But how to deal with them? Today, from this Inner Guide Q&A program, we are going to learn how to deal with the haters. Normally, haters are the people who are with negative mindset. They are the people who are with weak mindsets. So, first you have to remember that we cannot avoid each and every hater in our way. We cannot keep their mouth shut because they will always speak. So, what is the best reply for a hater? The best reply is silence. Say nothing, do nothing. Just work on your success. Focus on your goals and just work on that. That is the best reply. Never reply from the words, reply from the actions. So even our great teacher Supreme Buddha had haters. When he was preaching the Dhamma, when he was healing the hearts of the people with the Dhamma, there were people who talked trash about him, who tried to put him down. But Supreme Buddha never replied with anger. Supreme Buddha never replied with resentment. Supreme Buddha never went to argue with them because he knew the best reply for a hater is silence. And also Supreme Buddha advised us, when people talk rude words to you, when you hear harsh words, what you have to think is, I shall not affect my mind from anger. And I will not speak any evil words to them. Instead, I will make my spirituality a pure one. I will make my life a better one. Because if you are focused on your goals, if you are focused on your life, that is the best reply to the haters. Remember, therefore never be a hater, and also never be afraid of the haters. Because only negative people show their anger to others. Mentally strong people, people who practice the spirituality best, never show their anger to others. So remember, say nothing, do nothing, focus on your goals, just work on it and achieve the goals. And that is the best reply to them. So reply with silence, never reply with words. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvon Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. As humans, it is a common nature that we make mistakes in our lives. There's a beautiful Sinhalese saying that says, making mistakes is the nature of human, and forgiving someone is the nature of a God. So mistakes can happen at any time, anywhere from us. That is the nature. So when we make mistakes, very few of us ask for the forgiveness from others. Very few of us have the strength to say, I'm sorry. Remember, when you say sorry to someone, it doesn't mean that you are wrong. You need to ask for forgiveness from people. Don't be shy to that. It doesn't show that you are a weak person. Because if you know that you have made a mistake, then only you can have the ability to make it correct. If you did not accept your mistakes, if you did not own your mistakes, you will never correct the faults in your life. So you need to practice to say the word, I'm sorry. And also, sometimes you may accused by people for the mistakes that you haven't done. In such instances, we try to prove them that we are right. We are not wrong. If you haven't done anything wrong, remember, you don't want to prove that you are right, because you already haven't done something wrong. So, in such instances, the best thing to do is to stay silent. Stay positive, because they don't know what we have done or haven't done. So you don't want to prove them. You don't want to argue with them. You don't want to yell at them. Just stay silent and smile. So if there is a mistake that has happened from yourself, what you have to do is humbly accept that fault and say, I'm sorry. I will never do it again. So if you can say that word from the deepest place from your heart, right, you have a strong mentality. Remember, only the people with strong mentalities, only the people with strong minds can tell, I'm sorry to someone. So learn to say, I'm sorry. Learn to ask for the forgiveness, and also learn to give the forgiveness to others. Because we all are humans. It is the nature of a human to make mistakes. But if you forgive them, if you ask for the forgiveness, that is a nature of a God. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. First of all, I need to ask a question from you. Why do bad things happen always to good people? Now, I know this is a question that most of us have asked from ourselves in our life. So when the miserable things happen to our life, when unexpected things happen to our life, normally we ask from ourselves, why always me? Why these things happen only to myself? What is the wrong with me? So our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught a wonderful fact about the life. Supreme Buddha taught us, Sabbe Dhamma Anattati. That means everything is not yourselves. It is not under your control. So, life also not under your control. Remember that. We are living a life. This is not a fantasy. This is not a movie. This is not a dream. This is a real life. The nature of the real life is, it is unpredictable. We don't know what will happen in the next time. Can you guess what will happen in the next time? In the next moment? In the next second? No, no one knows that. Right? And also, our life is uncertain. We don't know in the next moment we will lose our life, right? So there's a big mystery about the future, right? So when the miserable things happen to our life, when unexpected things happen to our life, remember, the nature of our mind is to always regret about that, right? We have a great sensitivity. We have a big sensitivity to the negative side of our life, right? There are so many problems that we face in our life when we are living this life. So when we face those problems, when we are going through tough times, when the misery and the unfortune hits our life, we may start to regret about those past miserable memories, right? So what we have to do to get rid of this negativity is always we need to look for the bright side of our life. There are so many things that we can be happy by thinking about our life. But keeping away all those good things, we always focus on the negative side. That is why most of the people in this outer world, in this society, they are regretting about the small things that happened in our life, in their life. But they have thousands and thousands of things that they can be happy by thinking about. Right? So what we have to do to escape from this negativity is to always focus on the good things about your life as well as the good things about the others' lives. And that is how we practice to bring our thought process from negativity to positivity. And remember, life is unfair, right? We think that we are good people and we expect that good things will happen always to us. But remember, karma and life does not care about you. It doesn't care how good you are or how bad you are and how successful you are, what social status you are in. It doesn't care. It has its own ways. Karma has its own ways. So, there will be tough times. And also there will be easy times and happy times. Life is like a book, remember. When we are reading a book, we go through sad chapters. We go through happy chapters. We go through adventurous chapters. But if someone met a sad chapter and if he stopped reading that book, if he stopped reading that book and keep it away because it was a sad chapter, you cannot enjoy the whole essence of the book. Life is also like that. When we are living our life, there will be happy chapters, there will be sad chapters of our life, and also there will be adventurous chapters. But if we stop in the sad chapters of our life, what will happen? We will never make our life successful. Remember that. That is why they say if you focus on the pain, you will start to suffer. But if you focus on the lesson, you will start to grow. So when the life teaches you hard lessons, tough lessons, right? When you are going through the tough times, problems, maybe they are physical problems, mental problems, social problems, relationship problems, whatever problem it is, you should not make that problem a destination. Right? You have to go through them. And that is why they say you will grow through what you go through. So what you have to think is, you need to think this life is unfair. And that is why Supreme Buddha said, Sabbang paravasang dukkhang. Everything that is under others' control is a suffering. We cannot expect everything will be happen according to our wishes, because some things in lives are under others' control. And also Supreme Buddha said, Sadharanang vihanyanti. That is a great saying of Supreme Buddha. If you expect the fairness from this unfair life, you will end up as an exhausted person. You will end up as a tired and fatigued person, because life is unfair, and the problem is that we are expecting the fairness from our life. Therefore, do not expect always the fairness in your life. Bad things may always happen to good people. And also, good things also are happening to the good people. So when the bad things happen to you, what you have to do is bring your focus from negativity to the positivity. Bring your focus from the dark side of your life to the bright side. See, there are so many things that you can be happy by thinking about yourself. I don't know what they are, but there are many things. Everyone has bright side of their life. What we need to do to be happy with ourselves, to make our life a successful one, is to focus on that positivity. The more you focus on the positivity, the more you will become happier. And the more you will be able to make your life and remake your problems and faults in your life and live a happy life forever. So bring your focus from the negativity to the positivity, and do not expect the fairness from this unfair life. Namo Buddhaya.